Hello students of Mr. Gettle's chemistry class and beyond. We're just going to go over the calculating mass worksheet real quick. So if you don't already have a periodic table of elements with you, you might want to go grab that. Okay, I hope you just grabbed your periodic table of elements. So we're just going to fly by this review real quick, 50,000 feet. So basically just a couple important things you're going to need to know. Atomic number is the number of protons in the nucleus of the atom. And atomic mass is the mass of the atom, which we get by adding protons and neutrons. So if you want to take a second and review this, you can pause, read over the sheet. But if not, we're going to get to the worksheet. So this looks really complicated, but don't let it scare you. It's not. So already right here we can see that this is an isotope notation. And an important thing to note about isotope notation is that we have the name of the element, but more importantly, we write the mass number at the end. So already we know that this particular helium element has a mass of 4. And then, this is why it's important to have your periodic table of elements with you. Checking on the periodic table, we see that helium has 2 protons and an atomic number of 2, because it's the same thing, no coincidence. So we do 2, and like we reviewed before, the mass number is going to be the number of protons and neutrons added together. So we add 2 to 2 to get 4. And last thing we're going to want to go over and know before we really dive into this worksheet is how to write in nuclear formation. On the right, we're going to have the chemical symbol for the element. On the top, we have our mass number, which is our number of protons and neutrons added together. And down here, we have the atomic number, which is our number of protons. So let's get that done. On the right, we're going to write He, which is the chemical symbol for helium, and then we're going to put our 4 on the top and our 2 on the bottom. And right there you go. We have already finished this first chart. So let's work on the second one. So we know right away that this is going to be helium. And we also know that it's going to be helium-5 because we have our mass number here on the top in our nuclear notation. And we know that it's going to have 2 protons. So we have this pretty much figured out already just by reading your nuclear notation. Last thing we need to figure out, we add 2 to 3 to get 5. And there we go. We have finished 2 of these sheets. So it's really not as scary as it looks. So let me just erase some of this stuff here. And we will move on to the next one. Alrighty. So next, let's see what we got. This time we don't have it in isotope notation or nuclear notation to tell us some of the easy stuff, but that's alright. Already, we can deduce that it's going to have 3 neutrons because we add 3 to 3 to get 6. So pulling out our handy-dandy periodic table of the elements, let's see what has 3 protons. And it looks like it's lithium. So we'll write that on our sheet right here. Lithium. There we go, and we know it's going to be lithium-6. And now we can write this in nuclear notation, 6 over 3 Li, which is the abbreviation for lithium. And just like that, we've already gotten a ton of these stuff. So let's move on to our next one. So 3, and we just looked at this, so we know that if it has 3 protons, it's going to be lithium. So we can write that here, lithium. It's going to be lithium-7 because it has a mass number of 7. And this is going to have 4 neutrons because we have 3 to 4 to get 7. And let's write this in nuclear notation. 7 over 3 Li. There we go. Let's move on to our next one. Okay, so we're going to need to look at our periodic table of elements and see what has 6 protons. Okay, it looks like it's carbon. So we'll write that on our sheet over here. Okay. Carbon. And because we add 6 to 6 to get 12, we know that it's going to be carbon 12. And let's write it in our nuclear notation here. So 12 on top of 6. Let me erase our extras here. Oh, hold up, that wasn't an extra. Okay, and so that's our first couple ones. Hopefully you guys are getting the hang of it and seeing it's really not as complicated as it looks at first. And now for our final one. It's going to have 6 also, so we know it's a form of carbon. Okay, and it's going to be carbon 13 because we add 6 to 7. Get 13, also used in carbon-13 dating. Sorry, that's a little over the line, and then we do 13 over 6. See? And just like that, we've completed the first sheet. So let's move on to the second one. We are just flying through these. Okay. So let's look for our next one. So we don't know really a whole lot about this. We know it has a mass number of 14 thanks to our nuclear notation. And we know how that has an atomic number of 7. So let's look on our handy dandy reference periodic table of elements here. We know what has a 7 is nitrogen. Oh, hold up, that's the old sheet. So we know it's going to be nitrogen, and we're going to write that on here. Okay. Nitrogen 14. That one's a little close to the line too. Sorry about that. And we add 7 to 7 to get 14. There we go. All right. Our next one. So we are going to want to check nitrogen 15. All right. So we know it's going to have a mass of 15, and the chemical symbol of N lets us know that this is also going to be nitrogen. So let's take care of that. We know it's going to have 7 protons, and we add 7 to 8 to get 15. So just like that, all we need to do is fill it out in nuclear notation. So N 15 over 7. All right. Let's move on to our next one right here. So we know it has 14 protons. Let's pull out our periodic table of elements and see what else has 14. What has 14 protons? All right, it's silicon. So we're going to write that on our sheet here. We know it is silicon 29 because we have a mass number of 29. Okay, so we're going to put an S in here. And then what do we add to 14 to make 29? 15. So 14 over 29. We're going to do just fly by our last two. Let's see. So we need to find what has an atomic number of 16 on the periodic table of elements. All right, it's going to be sulfur. So let's write that down. Sulfur. And then we're going to just need to do a little bit of simple math here. What is 16 plus 19? And that's going to be 20. Hold up, actually, it's going to be 35. Let me erase that real quick. Took me a second. So we're going to write 35, right? Because 10 plus 10 is going to equal 20. And then you add plus 9, and that gives us 15. So 35. And so it's going to be sulfur 35. Sorry, these are getting really big. And then we're just going to write, oh, hold on, I forgot to add an I on. There we go, we're going to write S. And 35 over 16. And now for our final one, we have just flown by this. Awesome job, guys, if you are following along. So let's see, magnesium. So this is going to be a tough one. Let's find magnesium on here. And magnesium. Here we go. It has an atomic number of 12. So we'll write that down here. Magnesium. It's got an atomic number of 12. And we add 12 to 14 to give us 26. So it's magnesium 26. There we go. Writing a little weird. Okay, 26. And we put that together for Mg. And 26 over 12. Alright, and just like that, we have finished the mass number calculations worksheet. So awesome job, guys, and I hope this helped you kind of get what we're understand the sheet, and have a terrific day.